Why'd Mom send us here?
One question is answered and two more take its place.
Kratos is no stranger to death. The man has lived more times than most, and it would seem he would come crawling back to life stronger with each consecutive death. We saw him impaled and bleeding out by the pillar, piercing his torso from Ares in God of War 1, just to find himself climbing out of river Styx. Kratos yet again dies in God of War 2, after his own father Zeus kills him, only to receive the help from Gaia, allowing Kratos to essentially turn back time with the aid of the Sisters of Fate to confront Zeus from a position of power. Kratos has since traveled the depths of Hades, returned to and from River Styx time and time again, and has flirted with death more times than most Spartans would dare to dream of. Suffice to say, the Ghost of Sparta is one resilient dude, and yet questions remain about how Kratos could possibly escape death in the Norse realms. We are going to be talking about some key spoilers from the end of God of War 2018, so for those who haven't played it and or don't want to get spoiled, come back for another video later. At the end of God of War 2018, we see Kratos catching a glimpse of a hidden mural depicting his death. As Atreus continues further up the mountain in Yotunheim, a red cloak is blown aside, revealing to Kratos a mural depicting Atreus holding his dead father, Kratos, with a flurry of runic letters protruding from Atreus' mouth. This cryptic mural in Yotunheim gives us some possible insight as to the fate of our longtime protagonist of the series, and many are speculating this could foreshadow a permanent departure of Kratos for the franchise. Now, this video is full of speculation, and none of this is actually confirmed by Santa Monica Studio unless otherwise stated. So let's go into this with the understanding that these are just theories being tossed around as to the fate of Kratos in the upcoming God of War Ragnarok. This video is the first in a two-part series, looking at the prospect of Kratos dying in the upcoming God of War Ragnarok, with this video going over what we can theorize from the mural scene in Yotunheim at the end of God of War 2018, and also the recurring themes we've seen throughout the entire God of War franchise as a whole. The second video in this two-part series will follow up with traditional Norse mythology as to what the afterlife has in store for those who perish in the Norse realms, and how a death for Kratos could ultimately pan out while looking at it through the lens of Norse mythology. Make sure you stay subscribed with your bell notification hit so that you know when this second video is out and about. Make sure to also watch my video on an introduction to all the new characters introduced in God of War Ragnarok in the card here. Also, hit that like button while you're at it. So without further ado, join me as we take a look at what a potential death of Kratos might pan out to be like in God of War Ragnarok, by taking a closer look at that cryptic mural in Yotunheim, as well as look into the series past to shed light on the recurring instances of death in the God of War franchise.
It's your axe. It's smaller. Look.
The end of God of War 2018 marked a very touching moment with father and son, Kratos and Atreus, as they spread the ashes of Kratos' deceased wife atop the tallest peak in Yotunheim. Just moments before, Kratos caught a glimpse of a mural depicting his own death, with Atreus holding the corpse of his own father with runic words pouring out of his mouth. Interestingly enough, this is the only mural Atreus did not see as the pair ventured further into the realm, so we were unable to get the translation from the Norse language expert himself. Although the game did not tell the player what these runic texts mean, the internet came to the rescue and procured translations that indeed coincide with that pit in our stomach that seems to hint at a possible death for Kratos in God of War Ragnarok. Some translations of these runic words are the following: betrayed, mourned, death, and father. With this new insight into the depictions of the mural, it can help us better understand potential meanings we can extrapolate from this cryptic piece of art. The words betrayed, mourned, death, and father are not the kinds of words many of us fans want to see that could ultimately be depicting the passing of one of the greatest characters to grace video games. The mural can be interpreted in a few ways. Some who look at this mural without knowing these runic translations could be looking at it from the stance that Atreus is coming to the aid of his father and is there holding Kratos as he takes his last breath. However, especially with some translations hinting at the word betrayed, some players are thinking that Atreus is potentially responsible for ending the life of his father Kratos. As we all learned from that moment in God of War 2018, is that Atreus' name from his mother, Faye, is indeed Loki, known to be the god of mischief. Make sure to watch the next video as we will talk in more detail about Loki and just how mischievous he is in Norse myth. Regardless if Atreus kills Kratos, as potentially foreshadowed in the mural, we do know that Atreus definitely could have insight as to the potential fate of his own father. Throughout the beginning of the most recent God of War Ragnarok story trailer, you can indeed hear Atreus try to reassure Kratos that he is trying to keep him safe and to have trust in Atreus. As we all know, Atreus is very much in tune with his surroundings, able to hear the thoughts and voices of beings around him that no one else can. And he could very well be trying to have his father follow Atreus' commands as to potentially avoid a prophesied death that could befall his own father. Incredibly enough, Faye, Kratos' wife, seemingly orchestrated the entirety of God of War 2018's plot as the murals depicted the many events that occurred throughout the journey as they pilgrimaged to Yotunheim to spread her ashes. Little did Kratos know that his very own death was also potentially revealed, and one to be at the hands of his own son, Atreus. The almost serpentine-like way the runic language protrudes from Atreus' mouth makes it look all the more sinister, and could be a hint at what's to befall the ghost of Sparta. Now with that, how do you interpret this mural? Do you think Kratos will die? And do you think he will fall due to Atreus? Let me know in the comments. Also make sure to Spartan kick that like button, because as you know, this video was brought to you by likes. So be sure to hit that like button to help us win the war against the YouTube algorithm. Let's try to reach 500 likes with this video. Also, make sure to subscribe if you love it. Thanks again for all the support, good people. The theme of sons killing their fathers is one of great importance to God of War throughout its history. In Kratos' time in ancient Greece, we saw his endless rage and hatred directed at the Greek pantheon of gods, with the mighty Zeus being at the very top. Having a father who was the mightiest of all the gods was not something that Kratos particularly enjoyed, especially since they didn't grant his wish of eliminating the insidious memories of the murder of his first wife and daughter while under the direct orders of Ares. That rage drove Kratos to do some, well, let's say, pretty crazy shit that ultimately resulted in the death of his father Zeus. Throughout particularly the latter half of God of War 2018, Kratos has an especially challenging time opening up to Atreus about his own past, and tried to conceal to the best he could the details of him murdering his own father. Throughout one side quest, where Atreus is confronted with the realization that a bandit's son took the life of his own father, Atreus responded by saying he couldn't understand why anyone would do something like that. A bandit is certainly a person who does bad things. Pillage, steal, maim, you get the idea. Well, a bad person losing his life to his son was particularly alarming for Atreus, as he couldn't understand why anyone would commit such an act. Perhaps this is foreshadowing the actions that Atreus may carry out in the future. As Atreus is 3 years older in God of War Ragnarok, and is presumably able to connect stronger to his godly powers and with beings all around him, do you think Atreus may be having a change of heart and conceal his plans to kill his father? Again, pure speculation at this point, but as Loki, the god of mischief, we may be thrown curveball after curveball with this guy, and should prove to be as unpredictable as the legend is told in Norse mythology. Let me know your thoughts as to what you think is going on in Atreus' mind, and if you think Atreus is indeed out to try to protect his father, as it seems in the new story trailer, or if you think Atreus is planning for something a little bit more sinister to jump out at Kratos. The death of a fan favorite that has been going strong for nearly 2 decades is something that would be pretty devastating to a lot of fans. We all know that Kratos has indeed escaped the claws of death numerous times in ancient Greek mythology, but whether or not he could continue doing that in the Norse realms remains to be seen. Chime away below in the comments about your theories and opinions of a potential death of Kratos in God of War Ragnarok, and if you would be okay with saying goodbye to the badass ghost of Sparta. Again, Spartan kick that like button if you liked the video, and go ahead and subscribe if you loved it. Your support goes a long way to make this channel better and better. Let's try to hit 500 likes with this video, and also, I will be giving away a few digital copies of God of War Ragnarok if we can reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So let's go! If you haven't already done so, go ahead and watch this video here going over an introduction to all the new characters we know we will meet in God of War Ragnarok, as we explore some Norse myth that sheds some fun light as to how these characters fit in the greater picture of Ragnarok. Thank you all again for the amazing support, and I will see you in part 2 very shortly. Peace!